Scott, Six Nations is over. There's a month to go now before selection. How are the players going to be feeling before Warren announces the 30, however many names?
Nervous. I think if you're not in the Heineken Cup now, then it's going to be very difficult, because that's the next stage now. We've got through the Six Nations, so the next big tests are the Heineken Cup, and those teams lucky enough to be in the Heineken Cup, could play their way into contention as well. And it's going to be. It's always you cannot wait for that letter to come out. You cannot wait for that letter to come through the door. When you know it's going to be announced, a couple of days before, you're just by the door, you're harassing the postman, you get rid of all the bills, you're just looking for that Lions letter. And I think it's the most nervous time, because, when you're lucky enough to get one of them, it's just the best feeling in the world.
Does it affect performance? Does it affect sleep? Does it affect training?
I don't think. No, I don't think so. I think it almost you want to get out there and you want to prove to everybody, whether that's in the Pro 12 or whether that's in the Viva. You want to get out there and you still want to play well, and you still want to hold your hand up. It'll be on telly. Every game's on telly. So you want to get out and you want to perform. But in the back of your mind, everything you do is, I hope. Is it going to? Have I done enough? What didn't I do? What have I done? You're looking through the tapes. You're thinking, that's good. Can I send that to Warren? And I hope he doesn't see that bit. And that's unfortunately, the next month is going to be the hardest of their rugby playing career. In terms of being selected for that for a Lions tour, and it doesn't change. If you're Brian O'Driscoll, it'll feel exactly the same. 4 tours. This could be 4 tours. It's incredible. I was in Australia with a young man in 01. And if you're the likes of Sam Warburton, your first tour, it's exactly the same feeling. It doesn't matter. I suppose it's more nerve-wracking for Brian, because he knows what he's been through. He knows he's done it before. It's a wonderful feeling. It's incredible. It's that anticipation is wonderful.
Warren says he's penciled in or inked in 22 or 23. How many in your squad at the moment?
I don't. I haven't counted them up, but you have a look at the likes of Adam Jones, Cole, perhaps would go. Perhaps Warburton, Rob Shaw. You take both of them. You take. For me, if Gray was fit to Scotland, it's Valwyn Jones is there. Launchbury, young man, huge talent. Mike Phillips, Ben Youngs, Kerr. You're thinking, you're in, where are you? Farrell, Sexton, Bigger, is he, Laidlaw, 9, 10, you've got all these things going through your mind, and the one thing, Warren, he'll have 21 penciled in. That means he's got a rubber. And that is the thing, you're there in pencil, you ain't there in pen yet.
When he does announce, we think April 30 up in London, is it going to be a winning squad? Is it going to be a strong enough squad? Where do you think the strengths and weaknesses are going to be?
I think we're going to be very strong. We have a look at it. I think our scrum will be particularly strong with the likes of the guys I mentioned. With the likes of Cole and Adam Jones in there, and you've got the likes of Tom Youngs. Youngs, and you got the likes of Hibbard and those type of guys that are around there. The likes of Vinapola, Marla, Gethin. You feel that's okay. Line up wise, back row wise, who are they going to take? There's so many people, sort of stuck their hand up there, and you just look at, I think it's the creativity we haven't seen in the Six Nations. We've seen a huge amount of defensive qualities. It's the creativity that slightly worries me a little bit. You could pick any centre partnership, but you've got you go back to type, perhaps, who was good for you in 09, and that was Roberts and that was O'Driscoll, and those two guys, maybe will make the tour, but with Tuolangi in there as well, and with the likes of John Davis coming through, and you just get this feeling that we need some creativity in that centre partnership, and if we have that, then we've got the wings. You know, we've got, we could name 5-6 wings that could play there. Full backs, Hogg from Scotland, Halfpenny has been absolutely wonderful. Kenny from Ireland, and you just think, you know, only 2 of them can go. So it'll come down to, I think the biggest thing for me, and where we've lacked in this Six Nations Championship so far, is creativity at centre. If we get that right, then we can play. We can give our back three the opportunity to shine. If we don't get that right, you know, then the defensive qualities we know around the world are very good.
Robbie Deans is going to have his top 25 players in camp. They won't meet the Lions beforehand. So that first test is going to be 2 untried teams playing against each other, not really knowing each other. Winning that first test is going to be vital, isn't it?
It is, winning the first test, but as we showed in 01, winning that first test is vital, but if you don't back it up with the second, then it becomes very difficult. You know, when you go down to a decider in Sydney, you know, and all of a sudden all the Lions supporters get stuck up the top, and you know there's a sea of gold, and all of a sudden they've been together, you know, as long as the Lions have, and yeah, that becomes difficult. The first test is vital, but I'd say the second test is more vital. You know, if you can win that one, you know, and you can back that first one up as we saw in '97, then you know it's a nice place to travel for a week down to Sydney.
How important is the outcome of the series going to be dependent upon Pocock's injury now? Are we just putting too much emphasis on the way that he plays with Australia and the destructive qualities he's got, or is his loss going to be a real bonus for the Lions?
I think it's a bit of both, really, because he's a wonderful player. Yeah, unfortunately, he's been injured for a huge part of the last year. Hooper's come through particularly well. They've got a young boy in Gill as well, and they've got an old trooper coming back. You know, in George Smith. You know, and that name. And I can't believe he could be back around to play again. It could be O'Driscoll, it could be George, you know, playing against each other again. You know, it's incredible to think the longevity that they've had and the wonderful careers that both of them have had. You know, so all of a sudden he's back in Australia. He took over from Pocock last week, and he's playing well, and everybody's talking now. You know, but I think it'll be Hooper. I think it'll be Hooper to start. He played particularly well, especially over here in the autumn series, and showed his class.
In '97. You play with the Lions team that won. It's been a long time since '97. How important is it for the Lions to win this series?
Yeah, it's vitally important, and it is every time, you know, we go out. And again, I can't believe we lost that test series in 01. I think we played probably the 3 best halves of rugby that we've ever played, and lost that 4th, you know, in Melbourne, you know, and that swung the series really for us. I still can't believe we lost the test series in 09 in South Africa. It was a wonderful series to watch, you know, and it was brutal. You know, I still watch that second test and still believe genuinely we're going to win that test. So yes, of course, we're desperate to win. You know, we want to go out to Australia, and I think we've got the squad capable, you know, of going out there and performing. I think a lot of the guys, you know, have been nervous during the Six Nations. I think it's been defence orientated, and we just need to open up. We need to get down onto those dry pitches. Hopefully they'll be dry, and we can show our quality going forward. And I think we're in for a great test series.
Brian O'Driscoll is the leader. Is he your man?
I think so. You know, when you have a look at it now, you've got to guarantee. Everybody talks about guaranteeing your places. And if you were going to pick a Rob Shaw, you were going to pick a Warburton, or you were going to pick a Heaslip, or you were going to, then they would have to guarantee their place. I think the one thing you could do is put Brian O'Driscoll in front of a camera, and he could do it with his eyes closed, hands tied behind his back, you know, and then if he wasn't in the test side, you know, he's got the huge amount of experience to sort of say, I'm going to back you. You know, he's not a young man with a huge amount to prove to anybody. He's an old head, and he will do what's best to win a test series. And if that was, you know, 2 centres playing better than him, then I'm sure he'd be happy to step aside and say, right, you know, I was tour captain and we won the test series. And that for me is maybe the way it's